Gun dealers don't want you watching this video, neither do the auction houses, because what we're about to tell you is costing them millions of dollars every year in undervalued trades. Certain firearms in American homes right now are worth a fortune, and the people buying them are betting you'll never find out. In 2026, import bans, market shifts, and permanent discontinuations have made specific guns completely irreplaceable. Once they leave your safe, they're gone forever, usually for a fraction of what they're worth. These are the 10 guns smart Americans are keeping. Number 10. The Springfield Armory M1 Garand Rifle. General George Patton called it the greatest battle implement ever devised, and collectors today are calling it one of the smartest investments in the firearms world. The M1 Garand, chambered in .30-06 Springfield, was the standard service rifle for American forces during World War II and the Korean War. While several companies produced them to meet wartime demand, the ones manufactured at the legendary Springfield Armory in Massachusetts between 1936 and 1957 remain the absolute gold standard. Here's why you should never sell yours. Original Springfield Armory M1 Garands in good condition are now selling for between $3,000 and $5,000. That's double what they were worth just 10 years ago. But the real value lies in the ones with documented provenance. A Garand that can be traced to a specific battle or unit can fetch $15,000 or more at auction. The reason for this explosive growth is simple mathematics. No more will ever be made. The Springfield Armory that produced these rifles closed its doors to military production decades ago. The tooling is gone, the expertise is gone, and the political will to manufacture military firearms for civilian ownership has evaporated. Every M1 Garand destroyed, lost, or exported represents one less example of America's greatest military rifle. But there's another factor driving prices skyward. The greatest generation is passing away, and their children are inheriting these rifles without understanding their significance. Estate sales across America are flooding the market with Garands, but smart collectors are buying them faster than they appear. The surplus is temporary, but the demand is permanent. If you own an M1 Garand, check the serial number against Springfield Armory records. Early production rifles from 1941 to 1943 are worth significantly more than late war models. And if your rifle has its original stock, handguard, and operating rod, you're sitting on a piece of American history that will only appreciate in value. Number 9. The Colt Python Revolver. In the golden age of American manufacturing, Colt's custom shop in Hartford, Connecticut produced what many consider the finest double-action revolver ever made. The Colt Python, regularly manufactured from 1955 to 1999, and then again from 2020 to present, represents the pinnacle of American craftsmanship in a world increasingly dominated by mass production. Original Colt Pythons from the first production run are now commanding prices that seem almost absurd to anyone who remembers when they were standard police sidearms. A 6-inch barrel Python in pristine condition regularly sells for $8,000 to $12,000. The 4-inch models, once carried by detectives across America, are approaching $6,000 for excellent examples. The revival of Python production in 2020 by Colt might seem like it would hurt values of original models. Instead, the opposite has occurred. The new Python, while excellent, costs over $1,400 retail and features modern manufacturing methods. Shooters who try the new Python often become obsessed with finding an original driving demand even higher. What makes the original Python irreplaceable is the hand fitting that went into every revolver. Each Python required over 40 hours of hand labor by skilled craftsmen who learned their trade in an era when American manufacturing prioritized quality over quantity. The timing, the trigger pull, the cylinder gap, everything was individually adjusted to tolerances that modern mass production simply cannot replicate economically. But here's the factor that makes Pythons absolute keepers in 2026. Colt has indicated that current Python production will be limited, and the company's financial history suggests that production could cease again at any time. Regular mass production of the original Python was discontinued in 1999 because it was simply too expensive to manufacture profitably, though custom shop models continued briefly. If economic pressures mount again, today's Python could follow the same path. Original Pythons with their factory boxes, papers, and tools are approaching investment-grade status. The combination of American craftsmanship, iconic design, and limited production numbers creates a perfect storm for long-term value appreciation. Number 8. The Winchester Model 70 rifle. In 1936, Winchester introduced what would become known as the rifleman's rifle, the Model 70 bolt-action centerfire rifle, manufactured in New Haven, Connecticut until 1964, and then in various forms until present day, represents the gold standard of American hunting rifles. But it's the pre-64 Model 70s that smart Americans are hoarding like precious artifacts. The controlled round-feed action of the pre-1964 Model 70 is considered by many hunters and collectors to be the finest bolt-action design ever produced for sporting purposes. These rifles, machined from solid steel forgings with hand-fitted components, represent an era of American manufacturing that prioritized function over profit margins. Current market values reflect this appreciation for craftsmanship. A pre-64 Model 70 in a desirable caliber like .270 Winchester or .30-06 Springfield routinely sells for $3,000 to $5,000 in excellent condition. Rare calibers like .357 H&H Magnum or .300 H&H Magnum can command $10,000 or more, but the real treasure lies in the factory original condition rifles. Winchester produced the Model 70 with various barrel lengths, stock configurations, and grade levels. A super-grade Model 70 with its fancy walnut stock and precise checkering can sell for $15,000 if it retains its original factory finish. The legendary Winchester craftsmanship extended to every component, from the precisely cut checkering on the walnut stocks to the mirror-bright bluing on the steel components. The reason these rifles are keepers involves both manufacturing reality and cultural significance. Modern bolt-action rifles are produced using computer-controlled machinery that can replicate dimensions to thousandths of an inch, but they lack the individual character that comes from hand-fitting. Each pre-64 Model 70 has slight variations in trigger pull, bolt throw, and feeding characteristics that reflect the individual craftsman who assembled it. Winchester's current Model 70 production, while excellent, uses modern cost-saving manufacturing methods. The controlled round feed was abandoned in 1964 in favor of a push-feed system that was cheaper to produce. Although Winchester returned to controlled round feed in 1992, the modern rifles lack the hand-fitted feel of their predecessors. Number 7. The Smith & Wesson Model 27 revolver. When Smith & Wesson introduced the .357 Magnum cartridge in 1935, they needed a revolver worthy of the most powerful handgun cartridge in the world. The result was the Model 27, a large-frame double-action revolver built on Smith & Wesson's N-frame platform. These revolvers, produced in Springfield, Massachusetts from 1935 to 1994, represent the pinnacle of American revolver manufacturing. The Model 27 earned its reputation in the hands of law enforcement officers who needed stopping power beyond what smaller caliber revolvers could provide. State police agencies across America adopted the Model 27 for highway patrol work, where long-range shots and vehicle penetration were primary concerns. The sight of a 6.5-inch barrel Model 27 on a trooper's hip became an icon of American law enforcement. Current collectors are paying premium prices for these revolvers, and for good reason. A pristine Model 27 with its original box and tools can command $3,000 to $5,000, depending on barrel length and production year. The registration models, produced before Smith & Wesson adopted their numerical designation system, are particularly valuable to collectors who appreciate their historical significance. What makes the Model 27 irreplaceable is the level of hand fitting that went into each revolver. Smith & Wesson's gunsmiths individually timed each cylinder, adjusted each trigger, and hand-fitted each barrel to frame junction. The result was a revolver that shot to point of aim with precision that amazed even experienced shooters. Many Model 27s will still print groups under 2 inches at 50 yards with appropriate ammunition. The discontinuation of the Model 27 in 1994 marked the end of an era in American manufacturing. Smith & Wesson cited the high cost of hand labor as the primary reason for discontinuing the model. Modern Smith & Wesson revolvers use computer-controlled machinery and precise tolerances, but they lack the individual character of the hand-fitted classics. Modern .357 Magnum revolvers from Smith & Wesson, Ruger, and other manufacturers offer excellent performance, but none match the refined finish and precise hand-fitting of the original Model 27. The combination of historical significance, manufacturing excellence, and proven performance makes these revolvers essential keepers for serious collectors. Number 6. The Browning Auto 5 Shotgun. John Moses Browning's first successful semi-automatic shotgun design revolutionized wing shooting when it was introduced in 1902. The Auto 5, produced under license by Fabrique Nationale in Belgium from 1902 to 1975, and later by Remington and other manufacturers, represents one of the most successful firearms designs in history. But it's the original Belgian-made Auto 5s that collectors consider absolutely irreplaceable. The recoil-operated action of the Auto 5 was decades ahead of its time. When most hunters were still using single-shot or double-barrel shotguns, the Auto 5 offered 5 rapid shots with reliability that amazed sportsmen worldwide. American hunters embraced the design, and the Auto 5 became the standard by which all other semi-automatic shotguns were measured. Belgian Auto 5s from the early production years are now commanding prices that reflect their status as mechanical masterpieces. A 16-gauge Auto 5 from the 1920s in excellent condition can sell for $4,000 to $6,000. The 20-gauge models, prized for their lightweight and perfect balance, routinely exceed $5,000 at auction. What sets Belgian Auto 5s apart from modern semi-automatic shotguns is the level of hand finishing that went into each gun. Fabrique Nationale employed craftsmen who learned their skills in the tradition of European gun-making, where function and beauty were equally important. The engraving, the wood-to-metal fit, and the precision of the machining reflect standards that modern mass production cannot economically duplicate. But there's a more practical reason to hold on to Belgian Auto 5s. The intricate recoil operation requires precise timing and careful maintenance, skills that are becoming rare as gunsmiths who understood the design retire. A properly functioning Belgian Auto 5 is a mechanical symphony of perfectly timed components working in harmony. When these shotguns break, finding someone capable of proper repair becomes increasingly difficult. The modern Browning A5, reintroduced in 2012, uses an entirely different operating system based on Benelli's inertia design. While the modern gun performs well, it lacks the soul and character of John Browning's original recoil-operated masterpiece. Collectors understand that when the last Belgian Auto 5 wears out, that particular combination of design genius and craftsmanship disappears forever. Number 5. The Colt Single-Action Army Revolver. Samuel Colt's factory in Hartford, Connecticut, produced what became known as the gun that won the West. The Single-Action Army, introduced in 1873 and produced continuously except for a hiatus from 1940 to 1956, represents the most iconic American handgun ever designed. But it's the first-generation single-action Army revolvers produced from 1873 to 1940 that collectors consider sacred artifacts of American history. These revolvers armed everyone from cavalry troopers chasing Apache warriors across the Arizona desert to cattle barons protecting their ranches in the Texas Panhandle. Each first-generation single-action army carries the patina of American frontier history. The low serial numbers, the case-hardened frames, and the era-appropriate markings tell stories of the America that existed when the continent was still being settled. Current market values for first-generation single-action Army revolvers reflect their historical importance. A cavalry model in .45 Colt caliber with its 7.5-inch barrel can command $20,000 to $50,000, depending on condition and documentation. Artillery models with their shorter 5.5-inch barrels are equally valuable, particularly if they retain their original military markings. But the real treasures are the documented historical revolvers. A single-action army that can be traced to a famous lawman, military officer, or historical figure can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Colt that belonged to Theodore Roosevelt, the revolver carried by Wyatt Earp, these guns represent tangible connections to the men who shaped American history. What makes first-generation single-action Army revolvers irreplaceable is the combination of historical significance and manufacturing excellence. Colt's 19th-century craftsmen hand-fitted each component to precise tolerances using techniques that had been perfected over decades of production. The case-hardened frames, the deep bluing, and the tight tolerances reflect an era when Colt dominated the world market for military and civilian handguns. Modern single-action Army production continues today, and Colt produces excellent revolvers using modern manufacturing methods. However, the modern guns lack the historical patina and the subtle variations that make each first-generation revolver unique. Collectors understand that first-generation single-action Army revolvers represent both mechanical excellence and historical significance that cannot be replicated. Number 4. The Winchester Model 12 shotgun. Produced from 1912 to 1963, Winchester's Model 12 earned the nickname Perfect Repeater through decades of reliable service. Manufactured in New Haven, Connecticut, this pump-action shotgun represents the absolute pinnacle of American shotgun design. Its reputation for smoothness and reliability was earned through the meticulous hand-fitting of every component. Winchester's craftsmen individually fitted each bolt, slide handle, and barrel, resulting in a shotgun that cycled with incredible precision. The distinctive sound of a Model 12 cycling became synonymous with American wing shooting. Current market values reflect its status as a mechanical masterpiece. A standard grade Model 12 routinely sells for $1,500 to $2,500 in excellent condition. Number 3. The Colt Government Model 1911 pistol. John Moses Browning's masterpiece served American forces through 2 world wars, Korea and Vietnam, before being replaced in 1985. While several manufacturers met wartime demand, the Colt Government Model, produced in Hartford, Connecticut, embodies American engineering excellence and military heritage that collectors consider absolutely sacred. Original World War II production models are commanding prices reflecting their status as historical artifacts. A 1943 model in original condition sells for $3,000 to $5,000. But the real treasures are guns with documented military service, which can command $10,000 to $20,000 from serious collectors. What sets original government models apart is the individual attention given to each gun. Colt maintained hand-fitting standards, hand-fitting slides to frames, and individually adjusting barrels, ensuring strict military specifications. These manufacturing techniques required labor costs that modern manufacturers cannot economically replicate today. Number 2. The Smith & Wesson Model 29 revolver. When Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry introduced moviegoers to the most powerful handgun in the world, he held a Smith & Wesson Model 29. This massive N-frame revolver, introduced late in 1955, became an instant icon of American popular culture. Designed specifically for the .44 Magnum cartridge to provide hunters with rifle-like performance, its massive frame was necessary to handle the tremendous recoil. Current collectors are paying serious money for pristine early models. A 6.5-inch barrel Model 29 from the 1960s routinely sells for $4,000 to $6,000. Number 1. The Winchester Model 94 lever action rifle. Introduced in 1894, it became the most successful sporting rifle in American history. While over 7 million were produced, the pre-1964 models are the crown jewels of American lever-action rifles. Designed alongside the iconic .30-30 Winchester cartridge, it provided hunters with a flat-shooting, hard-hitting round. Pre-1964 models represent the absolute pinnacle of American manufacturing. Produced in New Haven, Connecticut, these rifles featured hand-fitted actions that cycled with a smoothness modern production cannot economically replicate. Current market values reflect its status as an American icon,